everyone. Welcome to this podcast. I am so happy you're here today because we're going to talk about something exciting and very important for anyone learning English: how to speak English confidently and effectively. If you're listening to this podcast, then I'm sure you have some goal of speaking better English, and you're probably wondering, how can I improve my speaking skills? Well, don't worry. By the end of this podcast, you'll have a clear idea of how to make your English speaking skills much better. Speaking English is one of the most exciting things you can do when learning a new language. Once you're able to speak fluently, you can communicate with people from around the world, get new job opportunities, and make lots of friends. So let's start talking about the first steps to becoming a better speaker of English. The first thing I want you to think about is why speaking English is important for you. Why do you want to improve your speaking? Some people want to learn English because they are planning to travel. Others need to speak English for their job. Some might just love learning new languages and want to speak with friends in different countries. Whatever your reason is, that's the most important thing to remember. Your personal goal will guide you through this whole journey of learning. Now, let's talk about how to start. Many people think that they can only speak English well if they know many big words or if they have perfect grammar. But let me tell you something important. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to communicate. Speaking English is not about using the longest words or the most difficult grammar rules. It's about making sure that the person you're talking to understands you. And most of the time, the person will understand you even if you make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes when you speak. Now, let's talk about how you can start practicing your speaking. The best way to improve your speaking is by practicing as much as possible. And the first thing you need to do is set some goals for your speaking. What do you want to be able to do? Do you want to have simple conversations about everyday topics? Do you want to be able to give a speech or present in English? The clearer your goal is, the better you can focus on what you need to practice. For example, you might set a goal like, I want to speak for 10 minutes in English every day, or I want to be able to introduce myself in English confidently by the end of this month. These are great goals because they are clear, specific, and easy to measure. When you set your speaking goals, it's important to make them small and manageable. Think of speaking like learning to ride a bicycle. First, you start by learning to balance. Then you practice pedaling. You don't try to ride the bike for hours on the first day. You practice little by little, step by step. It's the same with speaking. Start with short sentences. For example, you can start by saying simple things like, hello, my name is. These are small steps, but they're really important. Once you're comfortable with these, you can start speaking in longer sentences and on more complex topics. Another thing to remember when setting your goals is to be realistic. It's important to set goals that you can achieve and that motivate you. For example, setting a goal to speak for 1 hour every day when you just started learning English might be difficult, but setting a goal to speak for 10-15 minutes each day is something that's doable. As you keep practicing, you can increase the time little by little. Now, let's talk about how to break down your big goals into smaller steps. For example, let's say your big goal is to speak English fluently. Fluency doesn't happen overnight, so you'll need to break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Here's how you could do it. Step 1. Learn basic phrases for greetings, introductions, and small talk. Start practicing these every day. Step 2. Learn vocabulary related to your hobbies, interests, or job. If you like sports, start learning words and phrases about your favorite sports. Step 3. Practice speaking in full sentences. Focus on making your sentences simple but clear. Step 4. Have conversations with friends or language partners. This will help you practice speaking in real situations. Step 5. Listen to native English speakers to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. You can do this by listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos in English. As you set your goals, it's also important to think about how to stay motivated. Learning a language can be tough, and sometimes it might feel like you're not improving fast enough. That's normal, and you're not alone in feeling this way. Here are some tips to keep you motivated. Track your progress. Every week, take a moment to look at how much you've improved. Even small changes, like learning 5 new words or speaking for 5 more minutes, are signs of progress. Reward yourself. When you reach a small goal, celebrate. Maybe treat yourself to your favorite food or watch a movie in English. Rewards will keep you excited to keep going. Stay positive. Learning a language isn't easy, but if you stay positive and believe in yourself, you will see progress over time. Finally, remember this: speak as much as possible. Even if you don't feel 100% confident, the more you speak, the more comfortable you will become. Don't worry about making mistakes. Everyone makes them. The key is to keep practicing, keep learning, and have fun with it. So that's it for today's introduction. We've talked about setting goals and how important it is to have a clear idea of what you want to achieve with your speaking. Remember, you can do it. Whether you want to speak fluently, confidently, or just have fun with English, setting small, realistic goals will get you there. In the next section, we're going to talk about the most common challenges you might face when learning to speak English and how to overcome them. So stay tuned. And welcome back. In this section, we're going to talk about some of the challenges you might face when learning to speak English. If you've been learning English for a while, or even if you've just started, you might have already noticed that speaking isn't always easy. In fact, speaking in any new language can be tough. But the good news is these challenges can be overcome, and today we're going to talk about how. The first and most common challenge that many English learners face is the fear of making mistakes. It's completely normal to feel nervous or afraid when speaking in English, especially if you're not confident yet. Maybe you worry that people will judge you if you make mistakes, or you might feel embarrassed because your pronunciation isn't perfect. Let me tell you something. It's okay to make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is a necessary part of learning. When you make mistakes, you learn from them. If you don't make mistakes, it means you're not trying hard enough to improve. Think about it. When you were a child, you didn't learn how to walk perfectly the first time. You fell down a lot, but each time you learned how to stand up again. Learning to speak a language is the same. Every time you make a mistake, you have the chance to learn and grow. One way to get over this fear is to change the way you think about mistakes. Instead of seeing mistakes as something bad, think of them as opportunities to improve. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress. When you speak, focus on the message you want to communicate, not on whether your grammar or accent is perfect. The more you focus on what you want to say, the less you will worry about making mistakes. Another common challenge is lack of confidence. Many learners feel shy or unsure about speaking because they're afraid of making mistakes or being misunderstood. If you feel this way, you're not alone. The truth is, even advanced speakers sometimes feel nervous when they speak. But here's a secret. Confidence comes with practice. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. So even if you feel nervous, try to speak as much as possible. To help build your confidence, try to start small. Speak with friends or language partners in a comfortable setting where you don't feel pressured. You can also practice speaking to yourself in front of a mirror. This can help you get used to hearing your own voice in English. It might feel strange at first, but over time, it will help you feel more comfortable. If you don't have anyone to practice with, don't worry. There are many ways you can practice speaking on your own. For example, you can use language apps that allow you to speak and get feedback. Some apps even have virtual conversation partners that help you practice real conversations. You can also record yourself speaking and listen to it later. This way you can hear how you sound, and it will help you notice areas where you can improve. It's also a good idea to talk to yourself in English during your day. For example, when you're doing something like making breakfast, you can say things like, "I'm frying the eggs," or "The coffee smells good." This helps you practice speaking without the pressure of talking to someone else. And now let's talk about lack of vocabulary, another challenge that many learners face when trying to speak. Maybe you know what you want to say, but you don't know the right word in English. This can be frustrating, but it's something that everyone goes through. The key to solving this problem is to learn new vocabulary every day and to practice using those words in sentences. You can start by learning words related to your daily life. For example, if you're going to the supermarket, learn the names of the items you need to buy, or if you're going to work, learn vocabulary related to your job. This will make it easier to talk about things you're already familiar with, and the more words you know, the easier it will be to express your thought. Another way to improve your vocabulary is by reading and listening to English every day. This exposes you to new words and helps you see how those words are used in context. You can read books, listen to podcasts, watch movies, or even follow social media accounts in English. The more you hear and see English, the more natural it will feel when you try to speak. One important tip: don't worry about learning every single word. Instead, focus on learning the most common words first. For example, words like want, need, go, and see are used all the time in English. If you learn these words and how to use them, you'll be able to communicate with others even if you don't know every word in the dictionary. The next challenge that I want to talk about is lack of fluency. Fluency means being able to speak smoothly without stopping too much to think about the right words. Many learners get frustrated because they can't speak as fluently as they want to. But the truth is, fluency takes time and practice. It's not something you can achieve overnight. One way to improve your fluency is to practice speaking every day. You can start by practicing simple conversations and gradually move on to more complex topics. The more you practice speaking regularly, the more fluent you'll become. Another helpful technique is called shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and try to repeat what they say as closely as possible. This helps you improve your pronunciation, intonation, and fluency. You can shadow podcasts, YouTube videos, or even movies. It's a fun and effective way to improve your speaking skills. Finally, let's talk about lack of motivation. Sometimes, when you're learning a new skill, it's easy to lose motivation. Maybe you feel like you're not improving fast enough, or you get tired of making mistakes. This happens to everyone at some point, but the key is to stay motivated and keep going. One way to stay motivated is to remind yourself of why you're learning English in the first place. Maybe you want to travel, get a new job, or connect with people from other countries. Keep those goals in mind and let them inspire you to keep practicing. Another tip is to celebrate small victories. Every time you learn a new word, have a conversation in English, or feel more confident, take a moment to celebrate. These small victories will keep you motivated and excited to continue learning. And that's it for today's section on overcoming common challenges. Remember, everyone goes through these difficulties when learning a new language, but they don't have to stop you. Embrace your mistakes, practice every day, and stay positive. In the next section, we'll talk about practical tips and techniques that will help you improve your speaking fluency even faster. So keep going, and I'll see you in the next section. Welcome back. In this section, we're going to talk about practical tips and techniques that will help you improve your speaking fluency faster. Now that you've learned how to overcome common challenges like fear of mistakes and lack of confidence, it's time to focus on the actual strategies you can use every day to improve your speaking skills. One of the first things you can do is to practice thinking in English. When you're learning a new language, it's easy to get stuck in translating everything from your native language into English, but this can slow you down and make you feel less confident. Instead, try to practice thinking directly in English. For example, if you're going through your day, try to think about what's happening around you in English. You might think to yourself, "I'm sitting at my desk," or "the weather is nice today." This will help you become more familiar with English in a natural, real-world context, and it'll allow you to speak more fluently because you'll be using English in your mind rather than translating words. Another technique to improve your speaking is to use language immersion. Immersion means surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible. The more you hear and use English, the faster you'll pick up the natural rhythm, vocabulary, and pronunciation. You can immerse yourself in English by doing things you enjoy. Watch English movies and TV shows, listen to English music, or read books in English. You don't need to understand every single word. The goal is to expose yourself to the language regularly. This will help you pick up new phrases and become more comfortable with the flow of English. You can also change the language settings on your devices or social media accounts to English. This way, you'll be reading and interacting in English every day, which is a great way to practice without even thinking about it. And one of the most effective ways to practice speaking is by finding a language partner or joining a conversation group. Having someone to speak with is key to improving your fluency. If you don't have a native English speaker to talk to, don't worry. You can find language exchange partners online, or you can join language groups where learners from all over the world practice together. If you can, try to make friends with English speakers. This doesn't have to be formal. It can be casual conversations about topics you both enjoy. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll get with the language. In addition to speaking with others, recording yourself is another great way to improve. You might feel uncomfortable listening to your own voice at first, but it's a powerful tool for growth. When you record yourself speaking, you can hear your pronunciation, the clarity of your speech, and how well you're able to express yourself. After recording, listen carefully. What can you improve? Are there certain words or sounds that you struggle with? Does your speech flow smoothly, or do you pause often to think? Recording yourself regularly allows you to track your progress and gives you concrete areas to work on. Another helpful technique for improving your fluency is shadowing. This is a fun and effective exercise where you listen to a native English speaker and you try to repeat what they say as closely as possible. Focus on mimicking their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. You can shadow podcasts, YouTube videos, or even speeches. The key is to match the speed and flow of the speaker. Shadowing will help you improve your speaking pace, pronunciation, and understanding of natural English patterns. Plus, it's a great way to learn new vocabulary and expressions. Now, let's talk about building your vocabulary. One of the best ways to expand your vocabulary is to learn phrases and collocations, not just individual words. For example, rather than learning the word do, learn the phrase "do your best" or "do the dishes." Learning these common phrases will help you sound more natural when you speak. Also, focus on the most common words in English. For example, words like happen, take, think, and feel are used all the time in conversation. The more familiar you are with these, the easier it will be to participate in conversations, even if you don't know every word in the dictionary. Another powerful way to learn new vocabulary is through context. Rather than memorizing lists of words, pay attention to how words are used in sentences. This will help you understand how to use them correctly in your own speech. For example, if you hear a phrase like, "she's in a good mood," pay attention to the words "in a good mood" and how they're used together. This is called collocation, words that commonly go together in English. By learning these common word pairs, you'll sound more natural when you speak. Finally, one of the best ways to improve fluency is through consistent practice. It's not enough to practice once a week. To see real improvement, you need to practice every day, even if it's just for 10-15 minutes. Whether you're speaking, listening, or writing in English, the key is consistency. Remember, learning a language is like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get. So even on the days when you don't feel like it, try to do something in English. The little things add up over time. That's it for today's section on practical tips and techniques. By following these strategies, you'll be able to improve your speaking fluency more quickly and confidently. Don't forget to practice every day and always keep learning. In the next section, we'll wrap things up with some final tips and motivation to keep you going on your language learning journey. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next section. Welcome to the final section. You've come a long way, and I'm so proud of you for sticking with it. In this last section, we're going to focus on some final tips that will help you keep progressing and staying motivated on your journey to speak English fluently. By now, you've learned a lot about overcoming challenges, building confidence, and using practical techniques to improve your speaking. But as you continue learning, it's important to remember that learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, effort, and persistence. So let's go over some final tips that will help you stay on track and motivated. For example, instead of saying, "I want to speak perfect English," set a goal like, "I want to learn 5 new words every day," or "I want to have a 5-minute conversation in English by the end of the week." Achieving these smaller goals will help you stay motivated and see real progress over time. Tip 1. Set realistic goals. Tip 2. Celebrate your wins. You might also want to reward yourself with something special once you reach a bigger goal, like watching your favorite English movie, treating yourself to a nice meal, or taking a break to relax. Recognizing your achievements is a great way to stay positive and motivated throughout your journey. Tip 3. Stay positive and be patient. When you feel stuck, remind yourself that every mistake is a chance to learn, and every step forward is a step toward fluency. Be patient with yourself and trust that with consistent effort, you will improve. Tip 4. Keep your motivation high. Write down your goals and why they matter to you. When you feel unmotivated, read that list to remind yourself of the bigger picture. And remember, motivation comes from consistency. The more you practice, the more you'll see progress, and that will give you the motivation to keep going. Tip 5. Never stop learning. And to keep things fresh and interesting, try different methods and activities. For example, you could challenge yourself by watching a movie in English without subtitles, or start reading more advanced books. You can also travel to English-speaking countries or join an English-speaking group in your area to practice in real-life situations. Tip 6. Surround yourself with English. By constantly being exposed to the language, it will start to feel more natural and your speaking skills will improve without you even realizing it. Tip 7. Have fun. Don't take it too seriously all the time. Make mistakes, laugh at yourself, and keep going. Language learning is a fun and rewarding journey, and the more you embrace it, the more you'll enjoy the process. Well, that's it for this final section on tips and motivation. You now have all the tools you need to improve your speaking and reach your fluency goals. Remember, the key to success is consistency. Keep practicing, stay patient, and don't forget to celebrate your progress along the way. I believe in you, and I know you can do this. Keep going, stay positive, and never stop learning. Best of luck on your journey to speaking English confidently and fluently. You've got this.